Hello everyone and welcome to M365 May. My name is Lisa Crosbie and today I'm going to talk to you about Power Virtual Agents. This is a technology that allows you to build a chatbot with no code, and because it's M365 May and because Teams and Power Virtual Agents work beautifully together, today I'm going to be taking you through an introduction to Power Virtual Agents, what it does, and also how it works with Teams in particular, and we're going to work through a scenario there. So thank you very much for joining me on this session today, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching on a recording. I hope you get something out of this. If you're watching live, we have got a Q&A window. We're using Teams live event here. You can pop your questions in the chat for me, and I will stop every now and again during the session and just check for any questions there. So do feel free to pop questions in the chat for me, and we'll take it from there. So before we begin, of course, we would like to acknowledge the traditional owners. We welcome our speakers and participants from around the world, and we acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which this online conference is hosted, and the traditional custodians of the land where our Australian-based speakers and participants are located. We would also like to pay our respects to elders past, present, and future. Also, we like to treat each other well here. It's a code of conduct. The quick version: be constructive, be respectful, be helpful, and be kind. I'm not going to read through the whole thing here. We've got a really good spirit going on with this conference between, everyone organising, everyone presenting, lots of great feedback from people watching. So I really hope that you're getting a lot out of it, and thank you for following that code of conduct. Everyone involved in this is giving up their time and doing it voluntarily, and it's an absolute pleasure to bring this to you. And of course, a huge thank you to the sponsors of the event who are helping us put all this together. So we've got plenty of logos there of organisations who are behind the event, so big thank you to all of them. All right, so this is me. My name is Lisa Crosbie. I've got a few things here to go through of how you can find me. You'll mostly find me on LinkedIn. That's actually the platform where I'm most active. If you would like to reach out to me after the session here, please just pop a note to me in LinkedIn saying that you watched this session. It's actually really interesting and helpful for me to see, where people come from. So please feel free to connect with me and just pop a note if you make that connection request through LinkedIn. You'll find me on Twitter. I have a YouTube channel. I'm actually starting to build a bit of a library of videos around Power Virtual Agents in particular. This is one of my particular favorite technologies to work with. I have a website with some blog content on it. My day job, I work for an organisation called Barhead Solutions. I'm actually based in Melbourne, Australia, depending on where you're watching this from. My job there is a technology evangelist, which means I get to do all sorts of presentations and events and trainings and things. So you'll find details of what I do there at barhead.com. I'm also what's called an MVP, a Microsoft Most Valuable Professional, which can be described as I do this stuff for fun in my spare time. Hence this. I've also heard it described as a community award for people who are excessively helpful. All of those things. Basically, I love talking about this stuff. I love sharing. I love learning, and so this is all part of that. Okay, so what am I going to cover today? Firstly, I'm going to take you through what is Power Virtual Agents. I'm assuming here that you might be coming to this brand new, so I'm actually going to take you through that technology and what it is. It's relatively recently released. It only became generally available in December 2019. So, a lot of people haven't come across this and haven't had a chance to experience what it can do. So I'm going to take you through that from the basics and build out a scenario for you today so that you can see how it works. What I'm going to do in the demo is show you how to build a bot with no code. We're going to create topics, and I'm going to take you through a couple of concepts in the bot that allow you to get natural conversational flow going within your chatbot using things called entities and variables. And then what we're going to do is get the bot to take action. And I've got two angles here on how we're going to work with Power Virtual Agents and Microsoft Teams today so that you can see these technologies working together. So the first thing we're going to do is allow the bot to, or get the bot to take action by posting a message in a Teams channel for us. And then the other thing we're going to do is take the whole bot and put it in Teams. So the bot is working in Teams in the chat function in Teams, which is an awesome thing that you can do. do. So there's a little bit of a different way of thinking about chatbots here today. We're going to be building out something that is more of an internal use case, because this is technology that you can use for more than just a business to consumer website. You can absolutely use it for that, but it also opens up new possibilities of using a chatbot for internal use cases. And I think publishing it into Microsoft Teams is an absolutely brilliant way to be able to do that. All right, so let's begin with what is Power Virtual Agents. And I'm going to take a step back, one level up from that, and talk about what is the Microsoft Power Platform, just in case anyone watching this hasn't come across that before. So what we've got here is the complete connected tool set, pieces of the Power Platform that work together to allow you to build all sorts of applications. And all of these things have a story of being able to build with no code or with low code. There's also a pro dev story going on. We still love our pro devs, we need them. But what I'm focusing on here is the ability to start to build out these applications without needing to use code, which opens up a huge number of more people who can access this technology and who can deploy it for their businesses. And even if you are more technically minded, it means you can develop things more quickly. You don't have to go in with code to do every single thing, so you can get this really high velocity development of things. So Power BI is the part of the platform that we use to do beautiful visualizations of our data, charts, graphs, maps, all those kinds of things, so that you can slice, dice and get the insight that you want. Power Apps allows us to create custom business applications, both for the web and the mobile, without writing any code. And I did a session in M365, which you'll find on YouTube as well, particularly on Power Apps and Microsoft Teams and how those two technologies work together. Power Automate is the piece that allows you to, it's like the glue that brings it all together, that allows you to connect across systems, that allows you to have workflows and automations, triggers and actions from one system to the other. And Power Automate is going to be really important today, because it is really important part of what works with Power Virtual Agents. So Power Virtual Agents, which is our focus here, is the part that allows you to build a chatbot without writing code. And we're going to see a beautiful graphical interface that we use to create our bot. But Power Automate is the piece of the platform that it works the most closely with. So I will show you how that works. So here's the vision for Power Virtual Agents and what it's about and what it does. The vision statement for it is that we are trying to empower every organization to easily provide delightful, I love that word, natural interactions with their customers and improve engagement and outcomes. What this is about is there are some absolutely core features that come through when we talk about the Power Platform. One of them is this low code story, this ability to enable people who are subject matter experts, who are not professional coders, to create solutions, to create applications. And that's absolutely true here. You know, you couldn't sort of think of creating a chatbot if you didn't know how to sort of get in and write the code before something like this. And the other thing is about democratizing artificial intelligence, bringing the power of what we've got sitting in the Azure cloud, the power of all that machine learning and AI and cognitive services and all those things, and surfacing them up into applications so that people who don't know how to do that can actually take advantage of it. So it means that more people can use those tools. You don't have to be an expert in AI to build a bot that can take use of that AI. So these are the four sort of key points of what we've got going on with Power Virtual Agents. The first one is that it engages naturally. So the use of the AI in the tool means that you can build a bot that has a really nice conversational style that will engage naturally rather than in a really stilted fashion. I'm going to show you a demonstration of how that works. As I said, democratizing AI, bringing that tool set up into Power Virtual Agents so that you can make use of that, even if that's not your expertise. The ability to continually enhance your bot. So you're not having to kind of deploy it, package it up, put it out there, that's the end of it, you know, and then you have to go through a huge process to change things. Where we're seeing things change so rapidly and the information that you want to get in the hands of your customers, internal or external, needs to be able to be updated and kept up with the latest information, this tool makes it easy for you to do that so that you can enhance it. You can look at your analytics, see what's working, see what's not working, and improve and enhance your bot all the time. And the most exciting part here is that This is a bot that can do more than just questions and answers. This is also a bot that can take action on behalf of the user. And this is where the power really starts to come in. And this is where Power Automate comes into the picture. Anything Power Automate can do, your bot can be involved in triggering that. So that means that your bot can do things like go out and retrieve an order from the system. It can send an email. It can post a ticket, log a ticket in the system, retrieve information. So we've got all these different connectors in the Power Platform that allow Power Automate to go out and do that stuff, and that works very closely with Power Virtual Agents. So what you can do here is build a bot that can answer questions but can also take action on behalf of the user, which makes it valuable. Now, just before I switch over to my demo system here, I'll put this one up again later, just in case you miss it, but grab a screenshot now of that QR code, because we do have some prizes as part of M365 May every week. And we are right at the start of week 4 here, so you've got to be in it to win it. Please click that code and take a note of that, and I will put it up again later. But I think we've got some pretty cool prizes coming, so do make sure that if you're watching this, that you enter the prize draw, because I would love it if someone from one of my sessions won a prize. Alrighty, so what I'm going to do now is switch across into a demo system, and I'm going to show you how we can build a bot with no code, so I'm take you through these concepts of topics, entities, and variables. And I'm also going to show you how we're going to get that bot to take action. We're going to bring Teams in here. We're going to get the bot to post something in Microsoft Teams. All right, so here we go. Here's our canvas. And I've already gone ahead and created a bot here. The process of creating a bot is as simple as going in here and saying new bot and adding it and giving it a name. I'm not doing that in a live demo just because it can take a few minutes to spin up, and it's not the most exciting thing to watch. So we've got our bot started here, and I've given it a name. So what happens is you get a bunch of topics that come out of the box. I've started to create a few different topics in here, but we also have a number of system topics. So the bot comes with things that it can already do that you don't have to do. So we've got a greeting, we've got an escalation, so we can escalate to an in-person agent. We've got an end of conversation and a survey in there, so it's pulling out CSAT, your customer satisfaction scores and things. So it comes with a lot of things already pre-built into it. Of course, you can edit these topics. You don't want to do too much editing to them because they do their own thing. But something like the greeting topic here, you might want to go in and give the bot, your own personality that you want the bot to be speaking with. So we've got all of these different trigger phrases and things. I'll come back to that and explain that in a second. But we can go in here and customize the greeting topics so that the bot starts the conversation when you start the bot. Now, this is not the standard greeting topic, and some of you hopefully will be spotting my my cultural reference here. I do like to have a bit of fun with these things to see that I've got a bot called Roy, and we're starting with hello IT, have you tried turning it off and on and off again? So some of you will get the reference there. If you don't, I highly recommend you check out a TV show called The IT Crowd, but go with me for my demo today, it will still make sense. The scenario that I'm building out today, because we're working with putting a bot inside Microsoft Teams, is the idea of an internal IT support help desk bot to deal with those kinds of routine questions and to escalate tickets to the IT team. So that's what we're doing here. So I've customized the standard message in here to sound like Roy. All right, I'm going to go back and show you the concept of how a topic works here. So a topic is made up of we give the topic a title. So I'm going to say, let's say we're going to create a topic for a new computer request. A user wants to request a new computer. And then in terms of a trigger phrase, this is what the user will type in. But unlike how bots used to work, I don't have to put in the exact wording and the exact phrase. This is where the AI starts to come in here. I can put in a series of phrases, and it suggests you'll see there 5 to 10 diverse phrases, and you want to use a mixture of different words and different sort of grammatical structures and things so that it understands the intent of what we might say. So we might say need a new computer, need a new laptop, my laptop is too old, and so on. I won't bother with putting out 10 there, but you can start to see you can put in just key phrases and things and mix it up, and the bot will understand when you're giving it those trigger phrases what the intent is when the user types those in. So now we click Go to Authoring Canvas, and that's going to save that topic, and it's opening up now our authoring canvas, and this is where I'm going to create the bot. So the first thing that happens is to prompt with a message. So we're going to say, I see you need a new computer. We click add, and you can see how easy this is. I'm going to say, let's ask a question. So what we can do here is go through and say, what sort of information are we looking for from the user when we ask this question? So we might say, you know, what kind of computer do you need? And we can say we're going to identify in the answer here one of many types of things. I'm going to use the multiple choice questions, but just to show you here, the Power Virtual Agents comes with, this is the concept of an entity. So this is within the text analytics world, what we call entities is being able to pick certain bits of information out of the sentence. So the bot comes pre-configured to understand all these kinds of things. It understands colors, it understands countries, duration, email, event, all of these different kinds of things. And you can also add your own domain knowledge in there. If you're working with, you know, in our situation here of IT help desk, I can teach it words that are specific to my domain so that it can pick those things out. So for now, what I'm going to do is just choose a multiple choice option to show you what happens here. So say, what kind of computer do you need? I'm going to say laptop. Now watch what happens beneath that. As soon as I start typing that, if I can type it correctly, as I start typing laptop, that appeared below there. We add a new option and we can say desktop. What that's doing is building out the next level of the canvas for me automatically as we go. And we can actually save the response from the user as a variable, which means we can send it through to Teams, we can send it through to another system of action, use it in Power Automate to trigger things, or we can just save it in the conversation to refer to it later. So what we're going to do is say, we're going to ask the user, what kind of computer do you need? We're going to pick up on the answer here, and we're going to save this as variable computer type or something like that. And then we have different conditions here, so we can take the conversation in different ways and do different things. So we can say, you know, we can ask another question, we can call an action, we can show a message, all sorts of different things here. So what I'm going to do is ask another question here. So we might say, I'll just show you the color entity. I'll say, what color cover do you want? And this time what I'm going to do is look for, in the user's information, I'm going to look for a color because it understands colors. So what that will do is if in the answer the user types, you know, I would really like a red case with all those words around it rather than just red, it's actually going to be able to pick out the word red from that sentence because it understands how to look for a color in there. And we're going to save this one as the case color. Now, the other thing I can do here in the canvas is move things around to say, well, actually, I've put those two conditions in, but I want those to branch back together. So I can just grab this little node here and bring it across there so that they come back together again. Let's also ask one more question here. We're going to ask, and this time we're going to identify, there's something in here called money, which will be extracted as a number, and we're going to call that one budget. So you can see here that we've got, you know, fairly easy, you know, authoring canvas. And just to show you how these variables work, I'm just going to put a confirmation message at the end to say, thank you. So what did we ask? We asked for the color of the cover. So we say you want a, and we're going to bring back in the computer type. You want a case that is, and we'll bring in the color of the case, and your budget, bring in that variable for the budget. So we will save that. The other thing you can do within here is bring in this sort of end of conversation question. So this one we can say, well, that's the end of that. We're going to end with a survey and that's the end of it. There's a few other things in here that I'm not going to have time to show you today, but you can also, you know, at that point start to, you know, add additional conditions. You can transfer to an agent if you're using a live agent scenario, but just to sort of show you the core capability here, here's what we're going to do. So on the side now, I can test my bot. And I'm going to pop out this little window here to show off the different variables. So this is going to keep track. I'm just testing this internally, haven't published it anywhere, haven't put it anywhere yet, but we've got different variable features down the side here that it's picking up on that computer type, the case color and the budget. So let's just work through the thing and I'll show you what happens here. We can say, I need a new laptop. So you'll see I'm not using a phrase that I've put in exactly, but it will pick that up based on what I've done. It will trigger that topic. And you can see, oops, there's something else in there that's too similar to that. So I see you need a computer. What color cover do you want? And I can say, I want a red. What it will do, pick out the word red from that sentence there and pop it into the variable. What's your budget? And I'll put a dollar sign there and say $3,000, and it should be able to extract that and pick out $3,000. And there we go. So if we reset that and have another go there, what you can do is it can skip the questions if it already knows what the questions, if it knows the answer to something. So I'm just going to go back in here and we'll put the new computer request in again. We'll go to the author in Canvas and just run this one more time. So we'll say my laptop. I think in redirecting that thing, it hasn't behaved quite the way I want. So let me show you though, where I've got something here, what I can do is to say, I want a yellow cover and my budget is $3,000. What it will do there is actually, because it knows that it's looking for a dollar value and a color, and it's got both of those bits of information, it skipped ahead and didn't bother asking me what was my budget, which is what it did the last time round, because it already knew that information. So in terms of being able to kind of get a conversational flow that is more natural, it's able to skip those things and jump ahead. If you want to teach it about your own entity, so you can see here all the things that it understands out of the box, but I can say, let's create a custom entity here and say, let's say we're working with CRM systems, and I'm going to say that some of the things here might be, you know, customer relationship management. Actually, I should have done this the other way around. We'll just put that in there as management, and one of the terminologies that might get used is CRM, and then I can add synonyms in here and say if someone says dynamics, that's a synonym for that, and so on. So I can go in and add different words and teach it different synonyms and things, and also switch on this smart matching function, which means it's enabling the bot's understanding of natural language. So again, we're drawing down beneath the hood here to do all this, and it can help match any of those misspellings and grammar variations and things there. So we'll just save that. Now, I said at the start, Power Virtual Agents is a relatively new product, but the technology under the hood is the Azure Bot Framework. So if you're familiar with that, this is not brand new technology. This is a new low-code interface that's sitting on top of something that's extremely well established. And one of the other things you can do is to draw skills from the Azure Bot Framework. So if you've built out complex skills and sophisticated things there, you can also pull those into your Power Virtual Agent. So those two things exist in harmony with that story working together. I'll just pause at this point and see if we've got any questions in the chat. Let me just see if we can go back to there. Nothing yet. Okay. So look, if you've got any questions coming through as we go, feel free to pop them in the chat. As I said, I'll pause every now and again and just make sure that we're covering anything that comes up. Excellent. All right. So I'll keep going. So what we want to do now is say, well, one of the other things I might say is actually I've got a bunch of frequently asked questions already put together, and I just want to get those into my bot quickly. So within the topics feature here, we've also got the ability to say, let's suggest topics, and I can just grab a web page link. So today I'm going to grab the FAQs from the Power Apps licensing frequently asked questions for our IT internal help desk. We're going to grab that and add it in there and click start. And what this does, it says it may take several minutes. In my experience, it usually takes 2 or 3, depends how big your page is. It's going to go through and take that FAQ content that's there and take each question and answer and turn that into a topic for the bot. So this is going to create single turn topics, 1 question, 1 answer. This is a really, really good way to get started with, getting content into your bot. At this stage, it's only pulling from a website, although you can connect up via Q&A Maker if you want to bring in things from other sources as well. But you need to also have a think about your topic design, because something that works well as a frequently asked questions page might not be structured in the same way that you would do for your bot. You might have some overlapping questions in there. Frequently asked question content tends to be quite chunky and long, whereas bot chat will tend to be shorter and go through those things. So it's a great way to get started, but also just have a think about your topic design there. There we go. In the time it's taken me to explain it, 43 new topic suggestions. So we go in there and you can see all of these things are in there, but they sit when they first come in as suggested topics. So I can click on one of those, I can get an idea of what it looks like, and I can go in and say, actually, yeah, I do want to go in and I want to add that to the existing topic. So it doesn't just slam everything straight into your live bot. It's actually bringing them in as suggesting topics. You have the opportunity to pick and choose which ones you want in. So this is a good way of weeding things in or out that might be repetitive. I could add additional trigger phrases in there. I can go to the authoring canvas and add additional things in there. So I've got that full ability to go in and edit all of those things. The other thing then is, once I've added it into my topics, is that I can also choose to switch it on, because at the moment it comes through switched off, so I can switch it on and make sure it's in there. So we've also got the ability here to switch things on, switch things off, so that things that things don't all have to be live at the same time. So you can see I've got one there switched off. So if you've got something that isn't quite right, or that you don't want to be using, so we might switch that one off. For instance, that was a bit of a junk one, or we can delete those things as well. We'll just get rid of that one, something that I was doing before. You'll also see there's an error message. So the canvas is also checking for errors all the time too. As you build out those topics, it'll give you little suggestions and error messages and things if it's not quite right. All right, so now let's have a look at how we can get this to work with Teams, because that is, after all, the main thing that I want to show you here. So this is a concept of what you can do with Power Virtual Agents. The next thing we can do is go in and create a Power Automate flow that will go out and do something. So let me just grab my topic that I have prepared. Actually, let's see if I can grab one in here. We'll go to the new computer request, and I'll just show you what it looks like, and then I'll show you one that I've built earlier. So we could go in here and say, actually, I want to, at this point, call an action. So this idea of saying, I want to go out to Power Automate and create a flow. So I've got one here that I've already created earlier, which I'll show you in a moment, but just to sort of show you the process here of being able to create a flow, this is taking you directly from the user interface in Power Virtual Agents directly into Power Automate, and I'll just take you the concept of what's going on here. You can save this and go back, and then you can use those flows. They become available to you within Power Virtual Agents. So it's beautifully set up. This is a really nice, easy interface to use. It's saying what is the input and what is the output. So Power Virtual Agents is going to provide an input into the flow to do something. So we can say we're going to bring a text in. We might be bringing in, for instance, the user's email or something like that. And then we're going to provide an output at the other end so that it can send something back to the bot. So this is a scenario where we can bring in, for instance, an account number or an email address. We can go out and query another system, find the most recent invoice, or find the, the most recent sales history, or whatever it is that you want to find, return it, and then that can be returned as a value back out the other end to Power Virtual Agents. So just to give you a sense of what's in the middle here, I can add an action. So the flow is set up with the top and the tail. It's giving you the input and the output, and then you put whatever you want in the middle there that you want it to go and do. And what I'm showing you here is a relatively simple single step flow, but of course this can be, you can have conditional branching, all sorts of different things in here that have lots going on. So Microsoft Teams is the one that I wanted to focus on today, but you'll see depending on what you want to do, you've got access to notifications, you've got access to, if I put in, Office 365, you can get to your users, you can get to your groups, you can get to all sorts of things. So if we have a look at Microsoft Teams, we've got a bunch of different things that we can do here. We can, create, you could have a bot create a channel if you wanted to do that. What I'm going to do here is use it to post a message, and I can actually choose when I post my message. I can say which team do I want to post it into, so post it into the IT crowd, and which channel ID do I want to post it into, because I can actually pick the channel within there, and then I can bring some of that stuff from Power Virtual Agents into my message. So let me take you back to the one that I've prepared earlier. I'm just going to close that one there and show you this thing a little bit more fully fleshed out with my computer problem topic here. So I've put in, a bunch of trigger phrases here to do with someone reporting a problem with their computer, and I've fleshed this one out a little bit more with conditions and things. So we say, sounds like you have a problem with your computer. Have you tried turning it on and off again? Because it is Roy after all. So we're going to choose, have I done that, yes or no? And then what we're saying is the bot is actually going to be useful here and say, well, if you've already tried that, now we're going to raise a support ticket with the IT unit here. So it sends a message, and then it goes through and asks a series of questions, very similar to what we did before. Asks, what's your name? Now I'm using a scenario here where I haven't bothered setting up authentication, but that is something else you can do. If your user is already signed in via Teams, you can enable that single sign-on, and it would validate and know who the user is, and you wouldn't even need to ask the name. But I'm not kind of getting into something, I haven't got all that set up here. I'm just kind of showing you the concept of what you can do. So we're asking for the name, and we're saving the name as a response there. Again, asking what type of computer you're using, laptop or desktop, and we've got some different paths here. So we can say if it's a laptop or a desktop, we're going to say, tell me more about the problem, and save that response. And then what happens here is this is what it looks like when we bring that flow into Power Virtual Agents. When we bring it in, it actually says, here's the flow that I've got prepared here. It's asking for these different inputs. I'm saying I want from the agent needs to tell the flow what is the name, it's a text value, what is the problem type, which is a text value, and what is the problem description, also a text value. And then what I've got is posting a message to Teams, very similar to what I was just showing you before, but this one's pre-built out, and I'm pulling in to say the name. So because Power Virtual Agents has got these things as inputs, I can put them into that message in Teams. I can post those things in the message in Teams, and then I can return a value to Power Virtual Agents. I haven't sort of done much here. I'm just showing that you can return the Teams message ID. Might not be the most useful thing to do, but just to show you that it can return something back in there. So that's our flow, nice basic flows. I said you can, this one isn't a lesson in how to use Power Automate, but you can build out flows that do, all sorts of different things that are far more complicated than this. And there are some awesome people out there who can show you how to do that. So once you're into this world of Power Automate from your agent, you've got those inputs, you can do all sorts of stuff in the middle, but today I really wanted to show you how we can use it to post that message in Teams. So when we come back into our bot, then what we're doing is saying that the Power Automate inputs are coming from, so we're sort of piecing together now, saying the name gets its value from the variable name, the problem type gets its value from the variable type, and so on. And then here's the flow at work, and we're going to get that message posted back. So let's just have a look at it here in the test window here. I'm going to say my computer is frozen. Okay, the other thing I'm going to do, because what I did is caused a bit of a problem here by putting in this new computer request, my topics overlap too much, and it's not actually understanding which topic is which. So I'm actually just going to switch that off and go back into this one here, and we should be good to go now, because I did a demo of something that was too similar to what I already have. Good practice with topics. You have to get your topics not the same. So say frozen. And now we'll know which one it is. There we go. Sounds like you have a problem with your computer. Have you tried turning it off and on again? Yes, I have. So I can help send a message. Now I'm going to pop out the variables here so we can see what it is. My name is Lisa. What type of computer are you using? I'm using a desktop. And tell me more about the problem. My monitor, so I started off saying my computer was frozen, didn't I? So yeah, the computer screen is just frozen and I can't do anything. And then that will keep that in there. And just to sort of see what we've got here, it's going to go away and do that, and it's going to come back and bring that in. There's my topic, and there it is. Now, just to show you what's happened in Teams now, there is, so if you're watching live, you'll know that that was actually live, 5:35 p.m. we're recording this. The computer screen is just frozen and I can't do anything. And you'll see I defined it to go into that team called the IT crowd support tickets, and there it is. So that's actually used the agent to post a message into Teams for us. There's one more thing I want to show you with Teams here, which is how to get the bot inside Teams so that you can use it in that internal scenario. So sort of two different ways of using it. One is the bot is pushing messages to Teams. One is that we're going to put the bot inside Teams itself. So what we've got within Power Virtual Agents is a bunch of channels that we can publish to. So if you're watching this on record, we are at May 2020. I expect, you know, if you're watching this a year from now, it might be some different options in there, who knows. So of course you can publish things out to your own website. You'll see there you can also post on Facebook, Slack, you know, lots of different channels. But here we go with Microsoft Teams. So the first thing you need to do is always publish your bot, and that will push through the latest content. I'm actually not going to do that because I've got it working as it is, but you would publish that. So if you added new topics, adjusted topics and things, it all sits there until you press that publish button and then it goes through. What we do then is pick Microsoft Teams as a channel, and the first time you do this, there's a button at the bottom that says add. I've done it already because it takes a couple of minutes to go through, and once it does that, what it does is creates this app ID which I can copy, and then what I'm going to do is go across into Teams and add that in. Now at this stage, this process isn't a one-click process, but given the way that these technologies are developing, I fully hope that that we will see something here that will be a little bit smoother than this. But just to take you through the process of what we're seeing here, we go into publish the bot, which is what I've just shown you, and I'll show you that experience of what happens the first time when you click on Teams as a channel, because I'd done this earlier just so that we don't have to sit around and wait that couple of minutes to see it happen. So we choose Teams, and the first thing we're going to do here is say let's add Teams as a channel, and then that's going to bring up that app ID which I was able to just copy across there. Now, in order to do the next part, which is adding the bot to Teams, you do need to have admin permissions. You do need to have things enabled to add third-party bots and things like that. So there are some permissions things that are well documented online about what needs to happen. We're going to go into the App Studio and into the manifest editor here and create a new app. And then we have to go through and add in a bunch of things about the details of it. So we're going to give it a name. We're going to generate an app ID from in here, package name, and so on. So as I said, this is a little bit tedious at the moment, but watch this space. I think this experience will be improved sooner rather than later, I hope. So we pop in the description there. We've got the name of the developer and the website, so we've got all that stuff. So we're actually going through here creating like a custom app rather than just being able to sort of straight away plug in the bot. We're putting in our app privacy statement URLs, and then we're going to be able to upload an image for branding. It needs to be a full color image, PNG format, 192 by 192. So there we go. We've got our little, this is actually Moss now instead of Roy, if you're paying attention. We've got it in there. And then what we're going to do is bring in a bot, and I'm going to go back and copy that information from Power Virtual Agents, pop it into Teams, and save that in there. And then I'm going to download that bot and upload it again into Teams. So that just downloads a zip file. I'm going to come across into Teams and upload that as an app. So again, you need to have the permission here to say I'm going to upload the custom app. So we've sort of created Power Virtual Agents as a custom app, linked that ID across, and then we're going to come in and upload it as a custom app into here. And there you go. We can see that it's there, and I can also add it to the side menu here so that I can find it very easily. So we'll just find it there and add it in. So what I'll do now is take you back and show you what that experience looks like after it is done. So go back into the demo system here and over here. So we can see on the side that I've got that app sitting there, and I can pin that on the side if I wanted to use it all the time. So what we've got is that same experience now where my virtual agent is sitting inside Teams and I can use it internally. So this is where, you know, the pieces of the platform coming together in this way means if I've got an internal use case, I don't necessarily want to go out to a website to use it. If I'm, you know, working on a scenario like this where it is an internal application, I want to be able to use that, you know, right where I live and work every day in Teams to log my ticket. So here we go. I'm now going to say I'm going to start the chat with hello. So this is just working inside the chat functionality in Teams here, and we will get the greeting which I customized. Give it a second to come up. There we go. Hello, IT. Have you tried switching it off and on again? What can I help you with today? Say my laptop is broken. There we go. So this is the same experience that we were just seeing, but now working directly inside Teams. Have I tried turning it off and on again? Yes, I have. And so we're going to go through those same questions where it's going to ask me what's going on, and I can put that in. What's my name? This is the boss this time. Tell me more about the problem. Blue screen of death. So I've used the bot inside Teams now to do that whole thing. And there we go. It's going to come back and say it'll get back to you. Did that answer your question? Sure. Okay. And we're good to go. So now if I go back across into my Teams, and I'm using the same, you know, I'm the person reporting it and the person receiving it here, but just for the purposes of demonstration, there we go. Live straight through. Renham has reported a problem. Computer type laptop. Problem is blue screen of death, and there it is. So that's a couple of different scenarios there that are showing you how we can use that Power Virtual Agent inside Teams. All right, I will just pause again and see if we've got any questions, and then if not, we will wrap up. I think we are. Can a user, so we've got a question here, which I'll just publish through to the chat there. Can a user upload files such as screenshots along with the test as an input? Not yet. I don't think I've seen that one on the roadmap, but no, that's not a current functionality. We're starting to get in the Wave 1 release, we will see the ability for the bot to use things like videos and images and things that are in there. When I look at what's coming through in the Wave 1 release, which is the current 6 months, there's heaps of new things being added. Haven't seen that one in there yet. But the other thing, actually, I'll post this in the chat here. This is the Power Virtual Agents community. So this is actually the best place to go if you're interested in new features and other things there. Microsoft really kind of pay attention to what people suggest in the community for this product. This is actually a brand new community for Power Virtual Agents, but there's been one going for Power Apps for quite some time. And I see when the new releases come out that Microsoft will quite often announce and say, this was our #1 community ask or our #2 community ask. So if there's a feature that you really want to see if someone suggested it in here, certainly upvote it. I know I've seen the same thing back on Teams where I've upvoted things and I get updates on that. So Microsoft pay very close attention to what the community is looking for with the product. So if there's something that you'd like to see, then certainly make sure that you're sort of active in at least upvoting things in the community there. Alrighty, so let me just jump back to my my slides here, and we will remind you to enter the competition. Make sure you scan that thing, and thank you again to our sponsors there. I'll leave that up there. So that's all I've got for you. That's all I've got for you today. So just to recap there, we've had a look at Power Virtual Agents, which is a technology that allows you to create a chatbot with no code. You can see we can use it to enable really natural conversations, nice graphical user interface, drag and drop. You can bring your frequently asked questions in there. You can create create your own topics, very easy to edit, and you can also use it to call action. So what we've seen in relation to Teams today is two things. We've used the agent to post a message into Teams, and we've also then connected that virtual agent into Teams so that it operates in the chat. So we've published our virtual agent as a bot inside Teams, and I'm looking forward to the next the next developments in the roadmaps of both of these technologies. It's certainly very exciting to be working with anything integrated with Teams right now, because the explosion of features going on there is opening up all sorts of exciting new things. So yes, thank you very much for joining us. I hope that's been useful, and I hope you'll go ahead and I'll pop a link in the chat here. Actually, if you go to the website aka.ms, try PVA, so TRY PVA for Power Virtual Agents. That's how you can get started if you're interested in having a bit of a go. You can get a 30-day free trial on having a go with Power Virtual Agents, and I'd encourage you to have a go with that and reach out to me if you'd like to be connected with the Power Virtual Agents community or to find out more. I'll just finish off there, and thank you very much for watching.